That's all you got to do. And where's the speakers upstairs? Yeah. Actually,
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm the Reverend Ellen Quadgrass, minister here at South Church, serving in shared leadership with Kirsten Hunter, our Director of Lifespan Ministry. And I'm grateful to be with all of you here today as we gather to celebrate the life of Michael F. Thompson, beloved partner, brother, uncle, cousin, and beloved friend to many. We come together to remember Mike, to lift up the joy he found in life, the love he gave, the gifts he shared through his work and through the way he moved through the world. We gather to honor Mike's unique and wholehearted path, his thoughtful presence, his quiet integrity, his devotion to craft and care. We bear witness to the challenges he faced, the commitments he made, and the meaningful, intentional ways he lived out the values that mattered most to him. We come together to grieve his loss, sudden yet not entirely unexpected, and also to make space for the sorrow and the gratitude and the love that accompany such a moment. Although I met Mike only once or twice, I've been touched and inspired by what I've learned from his partner Julia and from his sister Patsy and from the moving reflections you will hear today. What emerges is the portrait of a man of quiet strength, a discerning mind, and a deep commitment to doing things with care, whether that meant building something with his hands or shaping a life that felt true to who he was. But even as we lift up and celebrate Mike Thompson, his singular, irreplaceable life, I want to let you know that his beloved partner, Julia O'Connell, is herself in hospice care with terminal cancer. When I spoke with her on Friday, she shared that she has very little time left. I know she had dearly hoped to be here in person and is so grateful for all of your presence here today. And she is with us now on the live stream. Julia, we are holding you in our hearts as though you are right here with us. We are sending you our prayers and so much love in this sacred time. Today, as we remember Mike and all that he brought to the world, we are also reminded of how fragile and precious it is to be alive, to love, to be loved, to walk this earth in these time-bound, tender human bodies for a little while. And so we hold each other a little closer. We carry one another through. Today, we lift up Mike, and in doing so, we honor the beauty and tenderness of this life that we all share. Let us begin. We'll begin with our chalice lighting.
Lighthouses on the horizon. Mike was always looking for them. Beacons of hope, guidance in the dark, steady lights in uncertain times. Today we light this chalice, a symbol of the best in Unitarian Universalism, to honor the light that Mike brought into this world, his warmth, his vision, his love. And as we carry that light forward, may we each become lighthouses in our own way. shining with the best of what Mike gave to this life and to all of the people that he loved.
In times like these, we are reminded of just how precarious and precious life is. Grief has a way of laying that truth bare. It brings into sharp relief the fragility of our days and at the same time, the beauty within them. What is fleeting gains new meaning. What is ordinary can become etched in our minds. Yet grief itself is unpredictable. We don't always feel it all at once. Sometimes it's just fits and starts. One minute you're fine, and the next one you remember the last time you were together, the sound of their voice, what they might have said if they were here now. Sometimes it's just a gentle tug. Other times it's more. Grief can show up as sadness, of course, but also as regret. I wish I had said this. I wish they had said that. It can look like emptiness or restlessness or even anger, that living means dying and everything comes to an end. We feel grief when someone has died. We feel grief in anticipation of someone dying. There is no one right way to grieve, no wrong way to feel. And so here in this gathered community, we offer each other the gift of presence. We make space for whatever comes: warmth, stillness, emotions, silence. This is a place where the heart can speak, where tears can fall if they will, where care and connection remind us none of us are alone. And perhaps sometimes even right in the emptiness, fresh light appears, a clarity, a sense of what really matters. The threads that held us to this person may gain color that they did not before. Our memories and moments can take on new depth. Grief in its own time sometimes makes room for that, too. I'd like to invite Patsy Levitt to come up to read The Well-Dressed House.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is a poem that Mike wrote in August of 2013. While I build, others sew and stitch. The outcomes could compare. Both a comforting veil of sheltering warmth, but not without, we hope, some style. With seams, forms, feet, foundations, we see it take shape from a pattern and a plan. Tying parts off, imagining the need for pins, ribs, braces, and knees. With turns and returns, up it goes, laps, straps, steps, and shoes, not forgetting to locate the pipings and numerous hems, crowns, caps, and collar ties. Now all sewn together with staples to sheets, ready for drawers, aprons, skirts, and coats, we all, finally, slap hands and tap our tired toes, button up the house, and drape our party clothes.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is John Thompson. I'm 13 months younger than my brother was. He was born about a year before me, but we couldn't be any less similar people. He's thought about the world in a very different way than I do. Personality, viewpoints, opinions, attitudes. In a way, I was envious of Mike. His perfectionism, his adventurous spirit, his excellence at doing everything. He was a sailor, a boat builder, a consummate craftsman, a seeker of spiritual truth. He was an A student in high school, carrying a raft of books under his arms to study at home. If any of us made a little peep while he was trying to study, he flew into a rage. I've been told to shut up a number of times, as have my sisters. He hated to lose at anything, especially to me. He was a great runner in the high school track team, which was especially remarkable considering he had a bad heart from day one. He was born with a bad heart. My parents thought he might die in the first couple of months of his life, pulled through. And he was just unlucky in a lot of medical ways. He also had terrible allergies. So I took advantage of that, the allergies. I used to chase him around with poison ivy. Well, you know, he's my older brother. That's what you do. We had one other brother, Rich, who was old. There were three of us. We were Irish triplets. And Rich named him Moose. So for most of his adolescence and young adulthood, that was his name, Moose, or Mouse. Mike was very serious, so Rich and I were really good at getting under his skin. And then there was Patsy, Liz, and Peggy, rounding out the crew. There were 6 of us and the 2 parents. When we finally left the confines of our family, we sailed in totally opposite directions, Mike and I. After high school graduation, Mike went to college and eventually found out he wasn't that interested in studies. He wanted to be a sailor. And he went, as everything else, he approached it very diligently and seriously and became a sailor. Built boats, sailed across the Atlantic twice. I met him right after he got back from the second trip, and he said, "I'll never do that again." When I met him, he had a place in Marblehead, and he was building boats, and I spent a summer down there with him. And he was building up his woodworking skills at that time and becoming a boat builder, then a woodworker, then pretty much a full-time woodworker. At some point, right after his stay in Marblehead, he moved to the West Coast, moved to Mill Valley, California, where, much to his own dismay, he got a wooden boat and tried to repair that. Did that for a while. He got married out there in Sedona, Arizona, New Age capital of the world, then came back our way. I met him in his beat-up old blue van full of carpentry and woodworking equipment, helped him get settled. He worked with me on a couple of jobs because I wanted to help give him a head start in this area. And yeah, he drove me nuts. He was so meticulous. Everything had to be perfect. I said, "Mike, let's just get it done, okay?" But anyway. So we had different ways of working. After a few years, he bought a house in Elliott, met Julia. He settled down with her in their house in Kittery, became a well-known and valued woodworker. If you see some of the photos down there, he built unbelievable stuff. Did that for many years. I think he was born about 100 years too late. Last year, Mike and I, this is Mike's idea, by the way, we didn't keep in touch very much. We weren't buddies. But one day he gave me a phone call. He never did anything by text or email. It was always a phone call. He called me, said, hey, you want to go up to Jericho where Billy lives, our brother-in-law Billy, because it was in the total eclipse path. I said, yeah. So he came up to my house. We drove up to Jericho, saw the eclipse. It was amazing. And then we had to drive back the next day. Same day, I guess it was, Bill. And 89 was basically a parking lot from Jericho to Connecticut. So after the first exit, I got off around Brattleboro, and we started doing these twisty little roads, and I was using my GPS, and Mike had an atlas of Vermont and New Hampshire. Okay, and it was already late in the day, all right? And it's getting dark. So I'm following the GPS. He said, you sure this is the right road? Well, yeah, just tell me where to go. What about this one here? And it started to get dark, so I had to turn on the overhead lights in the truck. And he would second guess just about every turn I made, but somehow we made it home. It took 4 hours. But yeah, he wasn't interested very much in technology. A phone call was about as far as he could go. So that's, yeah, we did have a lot of experience together, the two of us, but that was one of them. And that was only a year ago, and I appreciate him reaching out and calling me, because it was a great experience. His health problems didn't go away, as Julia knows. And although he did his best to lead a healthy life, he ate right, he exercised, he took care of himself, he kept track of his medical stuff. He was diagnosed with pretty serious atrial fibrillation. Again, his heart was an ongoing problem his whole life. Had to take blood thinners, which he hated. And then one day before my birthday this past year, he fell off his couch with a heart attack. He was dead, just like that. And as the pastor said, it was a shock, but in retrospect, not a huge surprise, because we knew about his medical history. Mike was also a poet, as you heard. I am not. I'm going to use Robert Louis Stevenson. I'm going to crib off of him. It's a poem called Requiem. Under the wide and starry sky, dig the grave and let me lie. Glad did I live and gladly die, and I laid me down with a will. This be the verse you grave for me. Here he lies where he longed to be. Home is the sailor, home from the sea, and the hunter, home from the hill. Thank you.
Eleanor is not here, so she's in the program, so she is not able to be here today. Ellie Thompson, but I am Liz Thompson, Mike's sister, and in our family there were the 3 boys, and then there were the 3 girls. The boys and the girls were separated in age and didn't interact that much. And Mike was not much of a social being either, but he was solid and steady. His high school yearbook picture has the caption, Mick, digs sailing, ducks the crowd, law. Ducks the crowd, ... law. Does that mean he ducks the law also, or no? He was interested, but a high school buddy, Alan Baird, who I've been in touch with, noted, somehow I can't picture him as a lawyer. but he was certainly a scholar and an achiever, an academic star student, as you heard, and a track star, very competitive. Al Baird told a story about a regional cross-country race. The two friends were running together, leaning on each other as they approached the finish line in 5th and 6th place, respectively. Just then, they were right almost at the finish, and just then, a runner from the other team dashed past them to steal 5th place. Al remembers, Mike had the presence of mind to push his way past the other guy. I just couldn't muster any more energy. So Mike properly took the 5th place plaque, while the cheater and I got nothing for 6th and 7th. No, Mike did not like to lose. More than one of his classmates recalled, and this is all through social media, I've just learned a lot about it, but one of his classmates recalled his seriousness as a science student. This woman, Rosemary Reedy, remembered, "He was my partner in science class. I was definitely the winner in that partnership. Thanks for helping me pass, Mike." He took to sailing early on, as you heard, and thanks to our dad who showed him the way. Another classmate, Garrett Almeida, remembered him recently by posting photos of him sailing on small boats in Massachusetts and in California. In one of those photos, Mike is holding binoculars, watching birds, checking coming hazards. He was a scientist all the way. These are things I've learned about my brother since his death. A silver lining, maybe. What I know of him is this: he was a private person, and as you've heard, he chose privacy from our family for a decade or so. It was sad and hard, but I understand now that separation from parents is something that people sometimes need to do, and I don't hold a grudge about it. He was, underneath that privacy, a generous and loving person. One of my childhood friends wrote to me recently, "I remember him being so kind to us." When he returned to New England and to the family in the early 2000s, he stepped up immediately to try to save our oldest brother, Rich, from his struggles with addiction. While those efforts were somewhat in vain, it strengthened our family and our connections with both Mike and Rich. He was a wonderful uncle to our son, Will. In Will's younger years, Mike would throw a ball with him, play in the waves, make sandcastles, and just be a kid with him. Mike never judged Will or anyone. He was just always a kind and good listener. And once, with the help of nephew Sam, he literally saved the life of another nephew, Stephen. We were all at the beach in Rhode Island. Young Stephen was caught in an undertow. Only Mike of the whole crowd of us, knower of the sea and of its moods, saw the danger. No one else saw it. Mike enlisted the younger and stronger Sam, told him what was needed, and Sam jumped in and dragged the boy to safety. As our parents aged, Mike was right there, visiting them frequently as they moved toward death and helping to make their respective passages beautiful events. He helped each parent find their way back to the sea, back to peace. "Peace to you, my brother." Quoting Garrett, "You've made your miles, friend. It's time to rest."
Well, you've already met me. I'm the oldest of the three sisters. Patsy Levitt. A dear friend of mine recently wrote me a lovely condolence card, and in it she said, "There are very few people who know us for our whole lives, and it hurts to lose them." Indeed, when I was born, Mike was a preschooler, and he and the other two boys were kind of the three musketeers. You've heard about that. And they were a force in my early years growing up. When I think about my brother Mike, what comes to mind that he was a study in opposites. Slight and skinny as a rail, but when we were kids, we called him Moose, like John said, or occasionally Moose Brain. We're not really sure how he got that name, but we think Brother Rich was pretty creative, had come up with that one, although I think John had part of it too. He navigated a small sailboat across the Atlantic twice. We've heard that. But when time when I met him in California and he took me for a hike in one of the redwood forests, we got hopelessly lost. However, since he had been trained as a Boy Scout, he found a stream and we found our way downhill. Yeah, it took a couple of hours, and we both got poison oak rashes, but he got a much worse one than I did, as you know. He wasn't much of a cook, as I understand, but he could out-eat our dad and my grandsons, and that's saying something. He wasn't much on technology. As you've heard, he used a paper map, but he did love that cell phone. You always knew when the phone rang late at night, you better get ready for a good sit down, because Mike wanted to chat. It was great. He was very generous in his philanthropy to causes in which he believed, and I know that you've heard about that, and you'll see more about that downstairs, including helping out our free clinic in Buxton. But he was as tight as a bark on a tree, as we say in Maine. I remember getting a ride from him in that, might have been that blue van, I don't know, or a pickup truck. And he had removed the passenger seat, so I sat on an a milk crate upside down. No seatbelt or anything like that. His gas gauge had quit working. This truck was an old truck. So he had a tiny spiral notebook, and he scribbled down the mileage so he could figure out how far he could go before he had to fill with gas. If you went to visit him at his house overnight, you had to bring your own sleeping bag and a few extra coats because he kept the thermostat real low to save money. It was great. As you've already heard and you will see in the photographs, he was meticulous in his craftsmanship and carpentry work. And yet, I gotta say, his office seemed to be a disorganized disaster when I took a look at it a few months ago. But I think he knew where everything was. The other day, as I was packing my camper van for a long trip and tried to fit as many things in as possible, I kind of missed the guy. He could pack a truck as tight as could be. As others have said, he was a master artisan, a poet, and a spiritual being. He was my brother. He knew me for my whole life, and it hurts to lose him.
invite Paul Burke to come and share.
Hello. I met Mike 25 years ago. We were two brazen artists and craftsmen collaborating on some really great projects together. Mike was easygoing person, yet as a craftsman, he was uncompromising. Everything he crafted shined with unfolding wholeness. To accomplish this takes a special skill, connected to one's creative energy, along with integrity for the craft. I believe that Mike applied the same uncompromising effort in life as he did as an artist and craftsman. To join together in the human connection is the ultimate honoring of his life. Mike was pure of heart, a gentle soul. He will be missed by many. Several years ago, my wife and I discovered an interesting book. It has these great sayings in it, sayings to ponder, poems and old graces that we all used to say around the dining room table. From that book, the book is actually named Graces. I picked one thing that I think is very relevant for today. The circle of life. Fear not which is now. Fear not which is to come. Life, death, and being are one. It's a circle. There is no beginning. There is no end. For that which is the beginning is the end of the other, and that which is the end of the beginning of the other. Surely the lessons of life are the wisdoms of death. Those that live in the knowledge of what the circle truly is have peace beyond measure.
I'd like to invite Mac McCarthy forward to speak to us.
As I stand here before you all, I will attempt to describe Mike. Was the most patient, and kind human beings I've ever met or had the honor to be my friend and coworker. His wisdom ran deep, and his knowledge was never ending. Initially, I could never understand his methods and the way he took his time, never worrying about how long it would take to complete a project or to fully think this process out. As the years passed and the time shifted from swinging a hammer to moving a mouse, I always thought about the important lessons he taught me. And about life, and that he created his own philosophy within carpentry. Mike was the one person that I knew who was obsessed with wood as much as I was. When a problem or challenge would come up on one of my jobs or design projects, he was always my first call. He always had the answers. As I continue down my journey of architecture, the things that he bestowed on me will never leave my side, but hopefully to create a new generation of builders and architects. Even that Mike has left this world, the lessons and knowledge that he's bestowed on all of us will never be lost. I will continue his legacy by teaching carpentry and architecture, and of course, Mike's crazy flashing details. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Steve Amundsen forward, please.
Hi, everyone. I've listened to everyone speak of Mike, and I think they've covered his abilities and craftsmanship and that pretty well, starting with you. I think everybody knows that. So I think I'm going to go off script a little bit and give you a take that maybe not being the same age or being in the same family, how Mike affected us and our building crew. I met Mike about 20 years ago when he first got back from California. And the blue van, we saw her every day. Chuck Lelakis, local painter here, who's a good friend of all of ours. He introduced me to Mike, and Mike needed steady work, and I needed somebody to be there by my side on a regular basis. Next thing, we knew it, Mike was there every day with me, side by side, and we worked together for the better part of 10 years. And in those 10 years, I got to know Mike really well, not just on a professional level, but on a personal basis as well. All the descriptive words everyone has shared, kind, compassionate, man, great integrity and skill. Coming from a little bit different vantage point, being a little bit younger than Mike, you guys probably never saw this, but he was an amazing teacher, with me especially. We would get into some very complicated projects, and when I would struggle, Mike would be able to break it down in such a way that it was clearly understandable. And we could work through basically any problem or any technical challenge. He was just a great guy to be with. And on a day-to-day basis, he would just elevate everyone on the crew. We had a core group of about five of us. It was Chuck, Tim, Rich, and Mike all together, basically all the time. And Mike would just, in the regular day-to-day conversations, it'd be some new thing, some interesting point, or some knowledge he would share outside of just building. And the way he carried himself and treated other people and his caring spirit was just amazing to be around. I can't tell all of you how thankful I am to have had Mike in my life and to learn so much from him and really just enjoy so much time with him. When he was so tough with you guys to work with, I saw a little bit of that, but I think by the time I came along in his life, he was a little more patient and just an amazing teacher and shared so much knowledge with us and the crew. Just an amazing guy. And I don't want to just talk about his technical skills because I think everybody's got that figured out. And thank you.
I'd like to invite Nedra Sar forward.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank you, Julia, for inviting me to share my friendship with Mike. He spoke so lovingly of you when we talked. He spoke of your passion in fighting injustice wherever you saw it. your drive in promoting clean water in Kittery, and your courage in facing your health challenges. John, Patsy, Liz, and Eleanor, Mike so looked up to each one of you. I think he told me he was a little intimidated by all of your successes, but he was so proud of your accomplishments. My twin brother Neil passed away 5 years ago. I thought I knew him, but during a celebration of life service just like this, I learned that others knew him in a special way that I didn't. I was so touched to see that side of my brother, and today I wish that for you and all your families. For those of you who are here and watching online, if I asked each one of you to describe Mike in 2 words, what would they be? For me, Mike was a gentle man. He was unassuming, soft-spoken, ever willing to help. He held deep convictions from which he lived. I can't begin to name all of them, of course, but here's one example of his volunteer service. I invited Mike to join our Aging in Place committee in Elliott. Our mission is to help people stay in their homes as long as possible with volunteer help in a few areas. AIP needed a guy's point of view, a strong back, and a truck. Mike fit that description and so much more. Here's what Mike usually heard from me by phone. Hey, Mike, what are you doing next Tuesday morning for an hour? Mrs. P needs a guy with a truck. Hey, Mike, I can't turn the water spigot at Dead Duck Gardens. After a while, with all of me, I think he thought my name for him was Hey, Mike. But here's where his passion showed. He knew that there are older citizens in Elliott who are relatively housebound, few opportunities to get out. They need transportation. In his inimitable fashion, we all know he was a researcher, he researched what we do have. He rode the free shuttle to Portsmouth, grocery stores, talked with other riders, saw firsthand the benefits and the shortcomings of a once-a-week service. And next he went to the nearby town of York to see if he could be part of the solution. He got vetted as a volunteer driver and hoped to bring the service to Elliott. He quickly found that the volunteer agency there was focused on towns north and didn't have the resources to bring it south. But he wasn't finished. He called me and said, what if AIP could spearhead the purchase of a van to transport some of our neighbors on a more frequent basis? That is a huge undertaking, I thought. But his passion was so large, we began to lobby the town for the project. Everyone agreed it was a great idea, but the verdict was the time just wasn't right. The project had to be shelved. Mike was so discouraged, he pulled back and he left our committee. 2 years later, just last summer, the town manager invited me to meet and told me that he and others had been thinking of Mike's request. They found an option. It will appear on the town ballot this June. Shameless plug for all you Elliott voters. Residents voting on June 10th, vote yes on Article number 9 because that's where the van is going to appear. Right after hearing, I headed right over to Mike's workshop with the good news. He was delighted. He started to talk right away about how he wanted to become a volunteer driver. I mentioned how he had identified the need, shepherded it, and what an important contribution it will be to Elliott. He brushed it off, saying, I just wanted to help. And that's who he was, a gentle helper. Hey, Mike, we miss you, but we're always going to remember you. Thank you.
The Thompsons are invited to come and sing our next interlude. Let us gather our hearts and minds in a spirit of meditation or prayer. How can you capture a life with only words? And yet, we try. Because each of us holds a thread woven from our own story, our own memory, our own moment of connection with Mike. Sacred, precious, unique. Whether you walked beside him for a mile or a lifetime, each of us carries something that no one else can quite carry in the same way. And all these threads, taken together, begin to form something of a tapestry, a picture of a life richly lived. Mike was, as we've heard, so many things: sailor, an adventurer, an intellectual. He was also a spiritual seeker. He was frugal and funny in his own way, athletic despite the odds, and he was a man who could pack a truck tighter than anyone. He had an open heart for family members who needed him, a steady presence whose care showed up in the quality of his craftsmanship, whether with wood or with words. He moved through life with intention, with pause, with thoughtfulness. He noticed what others might overlook. He remembered to look up, and he invited others to do the same. He wrote poetry, not just on the page, but through the choices he made and the life he lived. May the memory of Mike inspire us to be more present, to be more generous, to be more grounded in what really matters. May his steadiness steady us. May his quiet strength strengthen us. May the care he gave live on through the care we now give to the people around us. And may we say with gratitude and love words that Eleanor would have said had she been able to be here and share. You've made your miles, my friend. It's time to rest. Let us take a few moments now for our own silent prayers, gratitudes, or a personal goodbye in the silence of our hearts. Amen. Before I share the closing words, I want to be sure to invite you to the reception, which will happen downstairs, and also want to invite you to please remain seated for the postlude, which will happen after the closing words, so that Mike's closest friends and family can make their way to the reception and gather themselves before greeting you there. Our closing words are called Epitaph and are by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children who need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.